Howdy, y'all. Welcome to this week's review of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Oh my gosh. So, this episode starts off where it did last week, like they all do. And wow. Like, I'm of two minds. This is an unpopular opinion. I'm sorry, but I just gotta say it. Erika Jayne, or Erika Girardi, let's just say that. She is bringing it. I'm sorry. She is. I know. She's the villain. We're not supposed to like her, but that's why she's so good, right? That's why she's so good, because she's actually giving it. Because I'm gonna be real. Anybody else, they would not even have the balls to show up on another season of this show, okay? They would not have the balls to do this. So, love her or hate her, she's bringing something. And I'm sorry, she gets a little bit, I want to say respect, but I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this Erika Jayne. Like, okay, get the girls together. But she's dead ass wrong at the end of the day, though, because I totally believe that she knew what was going on at this point. Like, come on. Sutton, I don't know, maybe because I saw the previews and I had certain expectations for Sutton, and Sutton did last episode when she was with Kyle, she did talk a big game. So maybe I had different expectations for her and Sutton didn't meet my expectations. But to be fair, Sutton acted like how she normally acts, right? When she is confronted, when people are not happy with her, she breaks down and she cries. So she did the typical Sutton thing, right? It's so funny because when she started last season or 2 seasons ago, she came in so hard, right? Well, she came in so hard towards Teddy, and I guess Teddy is not that intimidating. But the person that Sutton was initially when she came on the show and the person she is now is like night and day to me, right? And I do like this Sutton. I just have to accept that this is what we're gonna get from her, right? Like, she's very intuitive. She usually catches on things, but she's not good at confrontation. She's just not. And I don't know, maybe Erika is very scary, so it's understandable. But I don't know, it's just like I want her to kind of hit back at Erika. You know, when Erika is like, oh, I don't know what Erika said, I will take you out, I will deal with you, that's not a threat, that's a promise. When Erika was doing all that, I wish Sutton sort of stood up more for herself instead of just like, I gotta go, I can't do this is unacceptable, she's threatening me. And I know some people may say, well, that's a smart move, right, to kind of play that, oh my god, I'm so scared card. But I don't know, it's just kind of annoying. I'm sorry, I know, unpopular opinion, but it's like, it's annoying. Garcelle is doing that as well. I see Garcelle is starting to speak up more, and I just wish she would, right? Because you're letting the other ladies and Erika Jayne walk all over you guys, and you guys are right. That's the problem. That's the annoying thing. They're right, at least in my opinion, they're right. But because they don't have the balls to kind of stand behind what they feel and they're letting the other ladies intimidate and gaslight them, they're just looking a fool, unfortunately, right? But I did like when Sutton kind of stormed out, Garcelle followed after, and of course Kyle as well, and Kathy. And Kyle, oh my gosh, Kyle's like, don't worry, you're not gonna get sued, and then trying to comfort Sutton, but Garcelle called her out, right? Like, you're making the situation worse by calling out Sutton, right? Because Erika's trying to dead the conversation, but Kyle is continuing the conversation. And instead of Kyle saying how Kyle feels, because Kyle definitely does have an opinion on this situation, she acts like a punk and she puts it all on Sutton. Well, Sutton, you said this, and this. Well, what about what you said, Kyle, right, in your confessionals? What about what you're doing? And then you want to act like you're Sutton's friend. it's just pretty obvious what Kyle is doing. Obviously, Kyle is the producer's pet. She's definitely trying to make a scene. But unpopular opinion, I kind of have to agree with Kyle a little bit. Even though Kyle is being a hypocrite and two-faced, I gotta agree with Kyle, where it's like Erica's bark is a lot stronger than her bite. She doesn't want Sutton to be intimidated by her. And I don't think it's because she actually cares about Sutton. I think she has her producer's hat on, and she knows that it's going to make for a more interesting scene if Sutton and Erica go back and forth versus Sutton kind of, being scared and running away, I mean, it was still an interesting scene, but it would have been a lot more interesting to kind of have that back and forth, right? So I guess that's where Kyle is coming from. You can't say you're going to do this, this, and this. You're going to take off the child gloves and yada, yada, yada. But then when the moment comes, you run away. I mean, of course Erica Jane is going to be mad at you. Doesn't mean that you're wrong. But of course she's going to be mad. I noticed that Erica Jane does not like to be called a liar. And you know what they say? If someone's really triggered by certain things, it may mean that it's possibly true that Erica Jane is a liar. Her whole life, we found out, is a lie. So she doesn't like being called out on that because it's true. And I feel like that would have been the moment for Sutton to be, well, you lied about this, you lied about that, you lied about that. Like, call her out on her crap. But I get it, because if Sutton was to do that, oddly enough, the only one that probably would have had her back would be Dorit. I wouldn't even say Garcelle would have her back. I think Garcelle would have kind of maybe sat there, say one or two things, but she wouldn't have her back at all. Because even Garcelle was like, that was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, and da. But then in the moment, she's trying to comfort Erica at the same time. So I feel like Garcelle is a bit two-faced herself, and she's not a reliable ally. I feel like Dorit is the only one that, boldly sort of speaks out. Even though at the beginning, she was a bit two-faced, but I feel like now she's kind of standing in how she feels. So I'm going to give credit to Dorit, the only one, oddly enough. Even Kyle a little bit was like, okay, don't threaten Sutton, because if you threaten Sutton, then it kind of confirms her concerns. Like, the people that you don't expect to say something are saying a little bit more than the people that should be saying something. I don't know. I mean, this was a great scene, though. I feel like Erica, she got the girls together. I'm sorry, she did. She looked good doing it as well. I know, unpopular opinion, but I just gotta say it. She got them together. So Garcelle and Lisa, they meet up. Well, Lisa comes to Garcelle's home, right? And oh my god, these ladies are so fake. Like, Lisa Rinna is so fake. It's disgusting. And I thought she was the one that's supposed to tell her like it is. But she's so fake in the scene, right? Because Garcelle calls her out because she feels like, which is true. I mean, on one hand, I wouldn't really expect Lisa Rinna to have my back. But Garcelle kind of feels excluded from the group, right? Like, all the other ladies, they have each other's back, and she's sort of on the outskirts, and no one speaks up for her, right? And Lisa's just like, oh, you feel like that? Oh my gosh, really? Like, that was so fake. That sounded so fake. But then in her confessional, she's like, well, the reason I didn't speak up with the Dorit thing, because I agreed with Dorit, right? And it's like, if that's how you feel, why not tell Garcelle in the moment? Well, the reason I didn't say anything was because I did agree with Dorit that you have a tendency sometimes to, I don't know, ask too many questions or kind of be rude. But I understand that maybe that's you being you, but I do see it as an issue, right? I'm guilty of doing it myself. Like, something along those lines, right? It would have created a more interesting scene if they were a little bit more honest. I know it's your friend or you're trying to build a friendship, so you're not trying to come off as rude, but there's a way you can communicate and be honest without being disrespectful, instead of just being fake, right? But then in your confessional, you're calling her a bitch. Like, what? Why not have that same energy to her face? It's annoying. And then because she has to be tit for tat, she has to be like, oh, well, when we brought you the sauce, we came over and we brought you the sauce, you didn't text us later and said you enjoyed the sauce. Even though at the birthday party, Garcelle says she loved the sauce, she wants some to carry home. You guys brought it to her. She tells you in the moment, thank you so much, I love the sauce. Then you expect her to text you again that she loves the sauce. Like, how many times does she has to give your husband praise for making some damn sauce? Oh, like, that's not even comparative to what Garcelle is talking about. That's so stupid. You're picking the time. What Garcelle is saying is an actual issue, and you're just, I don't know, because you don't want to look like a bad guy because you got a bad rap last season. You want to kind of like, oh, well, you did this. It's oh my God. And then her to say, oh, well, it's not my place to speak up. Well, she always has an opinion about everything. She always gets involved. She's gotten in trouble for getting too involved in other people's business. She was so concerned about Denise Richards and who she was sleeping with and all that, even though it was none of her business, and who cares? Oh, Lisa Rinna is just, I do think she's good for the show, but like, oh my gosh, that scene was so fake. Like, I don't know. And just the fact that you can't be honest with Garcelle, the fact that you're being fake with her right now, proves Garcelle's point exactly, that you guys treat her differently. Because I bet you, if that was Dorit, if that was Kyle, if that was Yolanda, okay, or anybody else, you wouldn't have no problem saying how you felt in that moment. But because it's Garcelle and you don't want to come off a certain way, you're being fake. But then have all this crap to talk in your confessionals. It's just, it's annoying, okay? And I'm going to say this again. I'm going to need Garcelle to stop caring about what these ladies think, because they obviously don't give a crap about you. So Kyle and Sutton, they go to a vintage shop, or I don't know what they do. They do rich people stuff where they buy crap. But after the whole Erica Jane thing, to be honest, I'm looking at these ladies sideways. I'm going to be real. I'm looking at them sideways and I'm wondering, is their money legit? I know that, Kyle and her hubby has had issues with their finances. So, I don't know. I'm not really here for the decadent lifestyle this season, right? Considering all that's happening. So, of course, they rehash what happened at the dinner. And Kyle was like, yo, what happened? And Sun is like, I didn't like the way you sort of poked and you sort of ignited the situation, right? By trying to get me to speak up. And I felt that I said everything I had to say. And Kyle was like, well, no, you didn't. You had this other energy when we met privately, but then around the group, you sort of backed down. I see both sides in this situation. I agree with both of them. I feel like that Kyle is using Sutton as a scapegoat, right? Because, like I said, Kyle has her producer hat on. She's been on the show for long enough. She knows what it takes to make a good scene. But because she sort of has that sort of friendship or alliance with Erica, plus she knows that Erica can be a little bit, like Erica, she would rather have Sutton do it, right? So she's trying to raise Sutton up to kind of have this confrontation. But, that's not Sutton. Sutton's not confrontational. She will break down and she will cry. She even spoke about how when she was married to someone that would tell her what to do. And now that she's single, she wants to make her own decisions. And she doesn't like when people are bossing her around. But I feel like, I don't know, I think because perhaps she was in a relationship with someone that was controlling, emotionally she is a little bit stunted, I feel like, and that's why when situations happens or when she gets into confrontation, she just breaks down and starts to cry. Like, I don't want to say like a child, I don't mean this in a harsh way. I really don't. I understand. I get that. But there's other ways to handle the situation. And I feel like maybe that wasn't the best way to handle that situation with Erika Jayne. So I agree with Kyle. Like, you're letting Erika kind of push you around. And you're not being able to communicate what you want to communicate. So you're doing yourself a disservice. But Kyle is definitely messy. So I wish PK was one of the housewives, okay? Because PK and Dorit are talking about the Erika Jayne situation. And PK is just saying everything that the audience is thinking. And he's saying what I wish the other ladies would kind of have the kahunas to say to Erika Jayne's face. Like, the way you're acting, the way you're handling this situation is very suspect to us, right? I mean, they don't have to keep harping on it, but can we get one scene? Can we just get one good scene where she gets called out? That's all I'm asking for. One good scene. And then that's it. Then we move on. She can cry, she can break down, the ladies can feel sorry for her, and we can move on. That's all I'm asking. And PK is entirely right. Like, if she is innocent, which I don't believe, but if she is innocent, the way she's acting just makes her look guilty. Because not at one, like, even the flashback scene when she's talking about the victims, she's like, yeah, the victims, they need to be taken care of. What does that mean, they need to be taken care of? That could mean they need to be taken care of, if you know what I mean. Like, that could be interpreted in so many different ways, right? Like, that was the one and only time she spoke about the victims. And even that was ambiguous and careful. Now, I don't know if her lawyers are telling her not to kind of speak on the victims, because that would be somewhat or somehow be admitting guilt, right? Because if you say, yeah, what happened to them is terrible, you're kind of saying that, you're kind of admitting that Tom stole from them, and legally that could put you in a bad position. But at this point, like PK said, that part is not debatable. It's pretty clear at this point that, that's what he did. It's not allegedly anymore, right? And him losing his mind or having dementia is irrelevant, right? Because even if he is losing his mind or he isn't, this has been going on for what, 30 plus years at this point? Has he had dementia the whole time? I don't think dementia lasts that long, right? And if it did last that long and you're with someone and they're losing it, but you're still taking their money and spending that, I mean, that would be questionable in itself. So I'm not talking about this Erika thing again, right? Everybody's talking about it, but PK, I wish something came with that same energy. Now, of course, PK is saying all this not to her face. I don't know if PK would have the same energy, but I think he would. Or at least he would attempt to, because Erika Jayne, she would shut his ass down, because I don't think she likes PK. Dorit, I love Dorit's outfit. It was so cute. The head to toe floral pattern was really cute. The whole date night spread that she put together was sweet and everything. It was a little bit funny when PK was talking about his bankruptcy issues and everything, and he was basically trying to say, like, I had to move a different way. I wasn't flaunting, what my material success and what I have. And then we get a wide shot of them, having caviar on deviled eggs and drinking champagne in this mansion, and it's like, Are you sure about that, PK? But then he qualified it by like, oh, that was just corporation stuff. You know, I wasn't I wasn't stealing from victims of plane crashes and stuff of that nature, right? Which, yeah, it does make it worse. And Dorit also made a great point of Erica Jane. It is a persona that she created, right? Of this, I don't know, bad bitch, doesn't give a fuck, sexy, whatever. But that persona is not working right now. It is backfiring. It really is not. This ice princess thing, it's not it. She needs to kind of... I'm not saying she needs to change who she is or change her aesthetic. I'm not even going that far. But she has to at least show some sort of compassion and understand that, of course, the general public is gonna not like you at this moment. Like, if I was her and I was in that situation, I would expect people not to like me. Come on, you mean, I understand that you're going through it, but you can't intellectually understand as to why you're getting a lot of hate right now and you're not popular. You don't understand why people, are not for you. Like, come on. I know it's hard, but yeah, it's a lot harder being a burn victim. You win a case and you don't get your money, right? You're pretty much... I think that guy is like pretty much disabled for the rest of your life, and you don't get compensated when you're legally supposed to. Like, that's a lot harder. Like, come on, you're just getting comments on the internet. And for even if you do end up going to jail, right? For how long have they been married? 20 plus years. You have lived this lavish lifestyle. You have reaped the benefits. So, okay, you're going to have to struggle for 2.5 seconds. You're probably not even going to go to jail. You're really not. Right? They're probably going to take a lot of your money if they can find it. And you're probably, in the court of public opinion, you're probably not going to be too popular. But that's it. That's it. Like, that's fair. That is fair. Like, intellectually, you should be able to understand that and be a little bit more humble. And that would probably help you in the court of public opinion just a little bit. So PK is definitely right. This was a good scene. So Garcelle has a dinner party serving Haitian food. Lisa is so annoying. She's like, oh, I'm trying really hard. It's food. You don't need to try really hard to eat food. It's food. It's not like she had a night of algebra questions. It's not like she had a night of painting. It's food. You literally take your fork, take your spoon, you dig into the dish, you put it in your mouth. Okay? And okay, I know people, I like fish. I like seafood. I know that's not everybody's thing, right? So I could be biased. But fish doesn't even have that like distinctive a taste or anything. It's not like, I mean, maybe goat, if it's goat, I understand, okay, goat has a distinct taste, oxtail may have a distinct taste, but it's fish. It's more about the seasoning and the spices that they use in the dish, not the actual taste of the meat or the texture. Is fish. Okay, unpopular opinion, I don't know, or popular opinion, I don't know why she's acting like that. Like she deserves a gold star for eating food. Like, it's food. You don't need to try. It's not that complicated. I don't know. Like, if you try it, and if you don't like it, you don't eat the rest of it. And the dishes were pretty damn small. They were tiny. So all you had to do, if you took one bite, you pretty much ate the entire dish. Like the fish ball, like it was pretty small. All you had to do, one bite, that thing would have been done. And if you didn't like it, you could take a piece, mash it up, play play with the food a little bit, and whatever. You guys are adults. If you don't like it, you don't like it. You don't have to like everything you eat. But like making it this big, huge deal is absolutely, it's just annoying. I just found it annoying at the end of the day. And somewhat offensive, a little bit. Come on, like, shut up, Lisa. Okay, ran over. I really loved how Garcelle decorated her home for the dinner. It was absolutely gorgeous. All the lights out on the lawn. I mean, hopefully none of those lamps tip over and start a fire, but it was definitely gorgeous to look at, right? I can imagine coming into the place, how stunning it is. The dinner table, how she decorated was beautiful. The flowers on the wall was beautiful. It was just a really, really gorgeous setup, right? And a lovely dinner. So kudos to you, Garcelle. And I loved Garcelle's hair and makeup. Now, I know people have been talking about Garcelle's clothes. Well, she just wore a black dress with a robe. So, I mean, it was all right. It was all right. But her makeup and her hair looked gorgeous, right? So, kudos to you. That was a beautiful dinner. Dorit, I hope you're watching back this season and you're starting to see what people are talking about. She was just going on and on and on and on and on. Like, I don't think Dorit is a bad person. I don't think it's coming from a bad place. She seems like somebody that has traveled all over, has many different experiences, and I think it's just her awkward way of trying to connect with other people, trying to connect with Garcelle, like, oh, I eat spices because I this and I that and da 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 da. You know, she just, I don't know. I don't know. She wants people to kind of see her differently than like an average white girl. You know, that's why she has this accent out of nowhere, where people say she didn't have the accent, you know, when she was younger. I know, I can understand if you travel around the place, you have family, your mother, your father, they speak different language and stuff, like, it's understandable for you to develop an accent. But I don't know, even with her date night with PK, with her like, don't eat the food, don't do this, let me open the champagne because you're gonna fly the cork all across the room and I don't like that, and da, 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 da. She just really seems like a control freak and very, very meticulous about her appearance and very materialistic, very, I don't know how to describe it, right? There's positive aspects to it, but it can also be kind of annoying. But I don't think she's a bad person. But I hope she's watching this back and being like, okay, I can understand why the ladies sort of felt the way that they did, especially Garcelle. Like, I feel like she's being a little hard on Garcelle, right? With the whole bet about Dorit being late. I think Dorit took that a bit, and I can understand because they have problems, but I don't think Garcelle was meaning it to be a jab. It could just literally mean that, Dorit, you're usually late, and probably part of the reason you're usually late is because you like to put a lot of effort into your aesthetic. So that means you're late to events, and it is what it is. If that's what it is, then you shouldn't be so upset about it at the end of the day. Okay? And you do go on a bit, so I mean, Garcelle ain't lying, so give her a break. What else happened? Well, it was kind of awkward because, of course, Erica and Sutton, they're not talking for obvious reasons. And, yeah, I don't really see them sorting this thing out anytime soon. I don't. And Sutton, like I said, doesn't like conflict, so she's not gonna call Erica out and be like, I didn't like the way you spoke to me, right? Like, any of the other housewives, I feel like we would have gotten that confrontation. We would have gotten that moment. But Beverly Hills, they're so passive-aggressive and fake that we're really not going to get those scenes. And to be honest, like I said before in my other reviews, if this Erika Jayne thing was not going on, right, we take that out of the equation. What would we have this season? What would we really have? Because they all have this same issue of just not speaking what's on their mind. And I can relate to that. I think real life Beverly Hills is probably more of a reflection about how people really move, where to your face they'll say one thing, but then behind the scenes or when they're venting to their friends, they'll say another thing, right? I get that, but it's just not as entertaining to watch. It's just not. So basically, what happened? So Kyle's getting involved. She's like, okay, what can we do? Like I said, she has her producer's hat on. She's trying to get that moment, right? But obviously Sutton isn't going to do that. Erica's definitely not going to do that. They're not going to apologize to each other. I don't really think they owe each other an apology anyways, right? I don't think they owe each other an apology. So nothing is really going to happen. So I hope the season is almost done at this point, if I'm going to be really honest with you. I'm kind of over this Erica Jane and her interactions with the other ladies, because it's just pretty clear that they're not going to give what I want them to give when it comes to the Erica Jane situation. I'm hoping that the reunion, if Erica Jane shows up, that's where we're going to get that resolution. But we're not going to get it during the season. We're not. So I kind of gave up on that. By the previews, it looks like it's going to be Garcelle versus Dorit. And I'm definitely more interested to see that and kind of relieved that, okay, we have a new storyline and we have something else going on. And hopefully Garcelle kind of, steps up a little bit and realizes what's going on. Because I do like her. I definitely think she's a good addition to the show. And she can be the queen bee, right? She doesn't need to refer to Erica or Kyle or whatever, right? It was interesting, actually, to see Erica kind of being sweet sweet to Garcelle. She was nice to Garcelle at the dinner, right? I know they had their issue, but Erica was trying to make an effort with her. I guess Erica appreciated Garcelle at the dinner. She was trying to calm her down a bit, so I would like to see their friendship, but I don't know. Erica's just such a messed up person. If it weren't for everything that was going on, I mean, Erica and Garcelle would have made a great team, but Erica's just wrong. I'm sorry, she's just dead ass wrong, so I don't know how that would work. Anyways, that's everything. See ya, guys. Bye.